Hi everybody and welcome along to the 12th of December. Let's see what's behind the door today. Oh, we've got a gorgeous wreath. Very sumptuous with that gold ribbon. Grab your paints and let's get started. So we've got a wreath to paint. So I'm going to just do a sort of wobbly little circle, so that then I can do a wobbly big circle. It's the joy of wreath painting, especially at Christmas, is you don't need to draw an actual circle. You can just sort of do a kind of furry wobbly one like this until you get it how you want it. We're going to do a nice big bow, so a nice sort of soft rectangle, then curling up. And I'm going to do like a double bow. So like two ribbons. So just have another bit coming out like that. I think bows look better when they're just a little bit unsymmetrical. I'm not just saying that because I've drawn an unsymmetrical bow. And then we're going to have some ribbon around this one. We've drawn wreaths before in the Advent calendar, so we like to keep on coming up with new designs and things. So go down and across and down, up and across and up, down and across, down and across. We'll just do a little bit of it there. Might see a bit of it. Might see a bit there. Cool. Okay. And I don't think we need. You could always, if you wanted, we're going to do some baubles on this wreath as well. So it's a bit of a sort of fancy, glossy wreath, rather than one that's full of different types of foliage. Because yeah, like I say, we have done wreaths before, so we just come up with some new ideas. So my baubles, or ornaments as you call them, are different sizes, just to keep it nice and interesting. And I'll get some cadmium yellow and some yellow ochre, just get those two in together to make a nice gold colour, and then some alizarin crimson and some cadmium red in together for a lovely rich red as well. I'm going to try out using my size 0 brush. It might be a bit big, but it might be perfect. Of course, it's always good once you've had a good screenshot of that. I'm just going to knock it back a little bit. This is a putty rubber or a kneadable eraser. It's just squidgy, but it's very good, and I roll it on top to just get rid of the pencil. And that's why if you end up needing to rub out pencil after you've painted, it's very easy to do so, because you've got rid of most of it before you even started. So you can see I'm leaving a little bit of unpainted space for a bit of shine. Sometimes you just keep on not painting it correctly and your bauble gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you can see I also did the same technique where I painted the ribbon, but I left a little bit of unpainted space for shine, and I'm going to do the same on the bow now to show you. And this is like the first stage, because I think I was talking about layers of watercolour when we were doing the pie earlier. Is you can keep on adding layers to watercolour and it will transform before your very eyes. So for anyone who feels like when they're in the process of painting that it's all hopeless and it's horrible, just remember that you might be very far from the finish line, and it is really going to transform in a way that you can't imagine when you're feeling a bit full of despair. So I hope you're feeling happily challenged maybe with this Advent calendar. I know last year I definitely had a few comments of people being like, this is really hard, and I hope that for anyone who felt last year was challenging, that A, those challenges, you overcame them, which is awesome, but B, that this is just good fun. So I've got yellow ochre now on its own, and I'm going to paint in a low light colour on this ribbon so you can see how it's just helping, and I get a little bit round the edges as well. The bow might be a little bit wet still, so what I can do is just add a little bit of that gold onto the baubles, and you see how everything starts to feel more 3D. So if it feels a bit plonked on, you can just clean your brush off and soften that in a little bit. And then with this one, I'll put in the dark colour sort of in the underside of the bows there. Then and there we go. And you can do the same with the baubles, the red baubles, with a bit of Alizarin crimson, just a bit more concentrated like this. I've mixed two greens. One is the two greens with a bit of blue and brown, and this one is just cadmium yellow and French ultramarine blue. I fancied doing a, oh my goodness, Harriet, clean your brushes before you go in. Thank you. Here we go. So green from blue and yellow, little brush, and I'm going to start creating the green texture on the wreath. Now I want there to be this sense of the sort of tufty pine creeping out. With this lighter colour, it's all about just getting sort of all the bases covered, getting a bit of texture in there, and also a little bit of unpainted space. So I'm using my smallest brush. And I'm just dabbing it around. Now I'll take my deeper green and just sort of go over where I've come. And I think at this point you could sort of add in a few extra strokes that might come over the top of some of the things you've already painted in. I always start around the edges because that's sort of where the darker bits are going to be, and then sort of come into the centre. That looks rather lovely to me. I think the only thing left is I've got a bit of burnt sienna and just added it into my yellow ochre just to make one last deeper colour for a bit more deep gold on the bow. So just sort of, you can add it in glazes, which means sort of dilute colours, or you can add it on, clean your brush off and then sort of soften it to be just a little bit lighter. But when you've got something that's trying to be shiny, you really do need to travel the full spectrum of colour with it. I was doing a conker in the horse chestnut for my patrons recently, and we were just seeing how many layers you could add to the conker, the nut, because they come out fully polished like mahogany. They're amazing. But I'm aware it's the 12th of September and we've all got places to be, so I won't keep you adding and adding more and more layers on my watch. But if I had my way, I'd be here for hours doing this. I just love this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm thrilled with my little wreath for the 12th of December. So I will say thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting and getting involved and sharing your work on social media. Keep it up. It's really what the Advent calendar is all about: coming together, learning new traditions and sharing our work and our joy of watercolour. So I will see you on the 13th.